So I'm here with Matt Padilla, who is a flyweight amateur, right? So I did want to ask, okay, how did you get your nickname?
Queso? Well, I'm not sure if it was Sam or Tom, but both of them are like, they're good at dad jokes.
Okay.
That's what they excel at.
Yeah.
So they chose to connect my name with the actual nickname. So it's Queso Padilla.
Okay.
And to them, it's quesadilla.
Oh.
So they just wanted to make that a little zinger.
Nice. There you go. And then, like in terms of, obviously right now everything's down, right? Because no one's really fighting, and it'll be a little while probably until the amateurs, they're definitely going after the pros, right? Because a lot of them rely on like ticket sales, stuff like that. But did you have something lined up like when everything went down, or?
I actually got my fight canceled the week of the fight,
shitty.
so I was supposed to fight for the California Fight League bantamweight title.
Okay.
March 21st or 14th.
Okay.
It was literally the week of the fight that I heard it got canceled, and the promoters telling me, "Oh, well, we'll get in a couple weeks later," and then April, and then they're like, "We'll just let you know."
So at that point, were you cutting weight already? Like.
I mean, for bantamweight, I really could
Get away with
sweat that off or
yeah.
diet it off. Like,
Like
that's easy for me to make, if anything. So that's not a hard cut. I wasn't dying over it, so I'm sure my opponent was having a tougher time on fight week than I was.
Yeah. What do you normally sit at?
I'm usually 45 to 50.
Okay, that's a normal.
That's not terrible for a flyweight.
Yeah, and that cut is not too bad if you plan it. A lot of it's like trial and error too, like when you're starting out, I can only imagine.
Yeah, I'm not the smartest with nutrition, but I haven't missed weight, so,
Well, it's
I'm
hard
doing good.
though.
And I feel good on fight day every time. I've never gone out of a fight feeling like drained and dying, so I've done it my way, but the right way.
Too. You're pretty tall.
Yeah, I'm definitely taller than anybody I've ever fought.
Yeah.
I remember my third opponent was supposed to be 5'9". He was listed 5'9" on Tapology, and he was the shortest guy I fought. He was like 5'3".
Yeah, you're like, okay,
what?
Tapology. Because they'll add like an inch, they'll give people like an inch, but I'm like, they do that in boxing too, like on BoxRec, but sometimes it's like, okay, like I think we were pushing it a little bit.
Yeah, he added an inch or 6 on his head.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
He literally added a whole head on top of it.
It's kind of like me. I don't know. I feel like I'm like short, and then I let my hair out, and then I'm like 5 inches taller. I'm like, now I'm like a normal human.
Yeah. Maybe he had taller hair at the time.
Right? Yeah. Maybe that could be it. But have you found that training with, obviously you have people here that are in the UFC that actually like have fight dates and stuff, but for everybody else, is it kind of like you're just training to be ready, or like?
Nobody really has like a set contract with anybody until you're like an established professional,
Yeah.
So it's just training for whatever comes up or whatever you really think's the right opportunity for you.
Yeah. Do you find it's easier to train with like a date in mind, or kind of like training and then because some people would perform better on like short notice versus something that's like a full camp, or like what do you kind of
I absolutely prefer a full camp. If it's short notice, then it's got to be worth my time. Like it's got to be a good opportunity for me. Even if I'm an amateur, it's still my health that's on the line. So it's not like I'm never going to go into a fight thinking that everything's easy.
Willy-nilly. Just like, let me just...
like, you don't know what's going to happen going out of it, so
That's wild. How long were you considering, like staying amateur until you go pro, like trying to get a certain amount of fights, or just when it's right, you're going to go for it, or?
I think it'll just goes with however I'm doing with the opponents that I get. Like the last 2 were probably the best ones that I got. The one before the last one, it was King of the Cage and Tough Enough.
Okay.
Title challenger. So I knew he was going to be a tough guy. Yeah. And then the last guy I fought was an 11-1 and number 1 in the nation, and I went to a decision with him. So I was like,
you're like, I'm cool with that.
So if I'm beat, but I'm cool with it, but I'm not cool with it. If I'm going to lose against those guys, it's going to be as an amateur, and I need to be consistent with the top guys at the weight class as an amateur before I really commit to going to a professional. I'm not going to go beat a couple like 1 and 5 guys as an amateur. and think that I'm just gonna get to a UFC title. You know?
Yeah.
I got to beat guys that are good at the top right now, and really, that's when I'll be okay with committing to being a professional.
Yeah, it's an interesting like game, I feel, as a amateur, right? Because it's like you want to get the experience before you go pro, you know? So it's like, do you kind of, obviously, I mean, your coaches are involved with like the decision making on accepting and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, do you seek out certain styles? Because in boxing, they'll do that. When they build pros, they'll be like, okay, I want a guy that comes forward. I want a counter puncher. I want that. And they build their fights like that. Is it kind of like that in the amateurs or no?
Definitely in the beginning, you want to like just test your guy.
Yeah.
You don't want to throw him to anybody. So you got to see what you're good with and what you're not so good with.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be honest with yourself with who you've got in front of you. And I mean, I think I'm 8 fights in. I haven't been finished yet. Knock on wood. You know, you never know what's gonna happen. But I mean, 3 of my fights are finishes, and I've won with my wrestling, I've won with my jiu-jitsu on the bottom, I've won in the clinch with a TKO, and I've won out in the open with a TKO.
Yeah.
So I think I'm honestly, if I could do that, I'm good everywhere.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm okay with fighting whoever right now.
Yeah.
So I think I'm past whatever, like deciding a certain style or anything.
And especially coming out of like a good camp, like you'll notice like I don't know, when I like watch amateurs that are from camps that have at least one person in the UFC or like one person that's like, you know, in a bigger promotion, the guys are just more, and ladies, I guess, they're just more composed. Like they come out there and they can execute, obviously it's like everyone, you don't really know what's going to happen until you get in there, you know? You know, but it's really interesting to see people come out of the really good camps and how that, you know, factors into the bodies and stuff. Do you find that when you're going up against, you know, like pros a lot and other amateurs, when you get in there with someone that maybe hasn't, is it easier or harder? Because sometimes, right, in jiu-jitsu, a lot of people don't like to roll with the people at the beginning because they're really spazzy and like it's like hard to work with them, and I don't know.
So you're saying, do I like going with like newer guys?
Do you find that it's like some of the people that you fight may not have that look of these styles? Do you find it's harder to fight somebody like that, or it's harder to fight someone that's like a legit?
I mean, I've fought guys from good camps, you know. Like I fought an Extreme Couture guy in Vegas. I fought Wolves Den, who they've got a couple UFC guys.
Yeah.
And they're out in like Missouri, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, no matter what, it's still a person that's learning. I'm learning from people that are, you know, you got Joe Stevenson over here, fought for a UFC title, Dan Henderson, UFC title challenger, Coach Gustavo. Dan's actually like boxing coach. You know, we've got all these good looks and good coaches, and I never really think about that when it comes to my opponent, because I always expect them to be good. I expect them to be at my level or higher. I never expect to just walk all over anyone. So
I mean, that's a good way to look at it. I mean, I've seen some fighters go in and they are very composed, but then they're fighting someone that's just throwing crazy stuff at them, and then that is what kind of gets them going backward, and then in their head it's like, you know, kind of.
I had that too. Like my fight against Joseph Rivas in Arizona. He was like, I think it said 17-0 as a Muay Thai amateur.
Oh my God, that's a lot of fights.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna stand with you. I took him down and like had my way in the first round, and then the second round he came out trying to like rip my head off. So I mean, I've seen that in a fight too. So you know, it's like I'm glad that I get every experience in there.
Exactly.
Even if it's something that's like being in the storm like that. So Joseph Rivas was a good opponent to give me that.
Good experience. I guess, I don't know, this is really offensive, but I mean, what ethnicity are you?
You know, everybody thinks I'm Filipino, and Coach Joe probably likes to tease me the most about that, but I'm actually just Hispanic. I'm Mexican.
Mexican? Okay. Because you can kind of see it in your style a little bit. You know, like you're coming forward, like you come forward, like you. I have yet to kind of get my hands on footage of your fight, so it was cool to be able to see you spar a little bit, you know?
I'm definitely more coming forward and trying to. It's like I'm trying to kill myself conditioning wise when it comes to being in training. Like no matter what it is, that's just the pace that I know. In a fight, I've got a lot more technique inside of me, and I'm definitely way more composed in the fight and do whatever. Like because we have a game plan. But when it comes to the actual sparring, I like to just test my will.
Exactly. You gotta have that dog in you too, a little bit. You know, like I find that really, like, you can see it.
Yeah.
You know,
and
like
it wasn't every round that I was going crazy.
Yeah.
There were some where I was a little more technical. But it's like, still, at the end of the day, you gotta have that in you.
Yeah.
Because if you feel that,
it's
if you feel that in front of you in a fight, then you're either gonna cower or you're gonna bring the dog out.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, where can the people find you, like on social media?
At Matt Padilla 125 on Instagram and Twitter, and then Matthew Padilla on Facebook.
Sweet. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.